And here I am in the attic with my bookcase and my computer and my painting that I'm going to do. So I'm getting it all set up to be a painting fiend once again. I have a sick bird right now, and I was gonna go down the studio and be there all night, but I need to be home for my birdie. She's got issues, and she doesn't like to be touched or messed with, so it takes forever in the evening. So, in saying that, I decided to stay home and just do this here. So I'm hoping that I can get it all going here in a minute. I've taped down my paper already. I've already done that. I've already taped down the paper. And I've already printed out my art. That's not really my art, but the art that I'm going to use. And underneath of that, I've got my carbon paper, which is carbon side down. And I'm going to trace out the eyeball and the mouth, the beak, some of this shape of the head, and just get the general idea of an owl. So that's what I'm doing. What are you doing? Loving this with all your heart. Yeah. I got me a pencil. To be or not to be. It's a be, so it is to be. Question solved. So I'm going to just start drawing this in. I'm going to start with, I always usually start with the things that I like, that has drawn me to the image that I'm tracing. So I'm going to draw the eye first, because while everything else is a bunch of odd colors, the eye is right color. So that means that the focus is on the eye, because it's a correct color with all of this blues and pinks that are not the right color. So it's the focus of the painting. All right, I'm coming around. I'm going to do this shape here, which is the eye shape, the feathers that come out from the eye. And I'm going to do that. Then from the bridge of the nose, which right there's the nose, so I'm going to do the line there, and then the line that comes up to the feathers that stick out above the ears. Okay, so this is a shape here. You want to get that kind of shape. Then there's a little bump here. That's kind of important, because that kind of shows the dimension that there's something on the other side which has another eye and another ear feathers. Okay. Then I'm going to come down here, and this all kind of sticks out, so I'm going to do some quick little lines there, and then I'm going to draw the chest, and I think that's all I need to do a version of this painting. So I found this painting on the internet and liked it because it showed good use of arbitrary color, and that's what I was going to teach somebody if anybody wanted to know. Okay, so I've got that going there. Over to the side. Okay, sorry, that was an interrupted. I don't want to be interrupted. I want to finish. I want to play. Are you playing? Okay. That wasn't fair at all. I can't block that from happening as far as I know. Okay, so I'm back in my drawing space. And I'm going to move the paper off. Squeak, squeak, squeaky chair. All right. Ta-da. Nothing going on there. Not yet, anyway. So this has a white background and then a bunch of color on the side. So it's an asymmetrical design. Asymmetrical. And then I've got my water bucket and my brushes. So I've got that ready to go. And I didn't clean my palette from the last time I used it. But that's okay because I'm going to use my Koi palette. Watercolor usually cleans up pretty easily. But I sometimes don't clean up after myself. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bit of water and rinse this color off so that I don't want to have muddy colors on my painting. And if you have all these other colors in there and on your brush, you're going to end up with mud. And you don't want mud, we want bright colors. So I'm just taking a little wipey wipey, and see, that's how easy watercolor is to clean up, just like that. And I don't think that's watercolor. I think that's acrylic in there. That's not gonna re-wet and change the color of my art. Life of a messy artist. Okay, so I've got that cleaned up. And these little spongy things on the side, there so you can tap your brush and get the dirt off of them, get the excess off of them. And I guess you can wash those out. So let's see. That's a little bit. A little bit of it. All right. So I've got that going. And this palette, the way this works, it could either go this way, be on the side, or it can go down here, or it can go over here. And I don't have a lot of space here to work with, so I'm going to put it like that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start this painting like you do. So we've got all of this is going to be white. This over here is going to be kind of a red. This is kind of a blue. And then there's some highlight whites in here. And you have to make a decision on how you're going to keep that white. And I was going to do it by not painting on it. But it does look like this has been splotted with like white acrylic right there to get this splot. So we'll see. I might do a little splash of color at the end. And I might have to brighten this white here to get it to pop. But we'll see how it goes. Alright. So I'm going to start out cleaning my big brush here. And wetting, just soaking the paper real good. Soak, 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 soak. I'm going to just do this, the back of his head, the body and the back of his head first. So I'm not going to get, I'm going to do a real light color on it and do a build up like you do. Okay, so you can tell that you have water on your painting. If you look at it sideways, you can look and see a glare. And you shouldn't have like puddles of water, but you should shouldn't see any dry spots either. Okay, so I've got that all wetted down. I'm going to switch to my medium edge thing. And I'm going to do it that way. It's because the angle. So I'm sorry I didn't go downtown like I said it would, but I got to worry about my little birdie. Alright, so I'm going to do this pink part first. And to do pink, you just get you want to get the red that's in the pink range and not the orange range. So if you look at that, that red, I think it's called quindac. My words are gone. Okay. Quinacridone. You know what I mean. It's the one. It's not the bright red. It's oh, no, get off of there. Your paint. Not good. Alright, so I'm going to just go ahead and start laying in my red, my pink red. And I'm coming down and stroking out. So, down and out. And Beverly Hills. So we've got a pink. See how that looks pink? Just like that. And I'm going to put a little bit of pink over here. Not too much. Just now this will dry a lot lighter than it is. And then I'm going to put a little pink right in here. I want to soften up that line. I don't want it to be harsh. So I got a little more water. Okay, so I've got the pink down. While it's still wet and pliable and movable, I'm going to go ahead straight into my blue. The blue is kind of like a cyan blue, like a real bright cerulean blue or Prussian blue, bright blue. And so I'm going to put in that bright blue, and it's going to be that second arbitrary color. It comes from the eye out, and it's going to mix and look a little purpley in areas. But I'm going from the dry spots out to the wet spots, and that way it blends, but hopefully I don't pick up too much. Now at this point, you want to kind of keep your paper towel handy in case you pick up too much pink, because you don't want a purple. You want the two colors, but you want them to blend a little bit too, but not right away. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm doing it in the direction that the feathers would be growing. So the top of his nose is blue, and the top of his head is blue. And I got a little bit out of the line. That's okay. So I'll just pick it back up. And it's blue in here. Right like that. I'm going to go right up to the eye and just kind of, this part here should be dry. This part should not be wet when you're doing this, or you're going to end up with a muddy eyeball. Alright. That's why I only put the wet down here, because I want it to blend here, but I don't want the water to seep into the eyeball. Okay, so I've got a little bit of feather here, and get that to blend. So we've got the beginnings here, and now we need to do the eye. And I'm going to switch brushes to a pointy brush. and do this yellow-orange eyeball, in case you forgot what the picture looks like. That's what it looks like. That's what I'm going for. Alright, so I'm going to pick up the yellow first if I can find it, because my palette's a little dirty. That is not yellow. Where's my yellow? That's an orange. Wow, this has got really dirty. Oh, no it hasn't. I hit it. I was like, what the heck? There we go. Alright, so I got my yellow. And I'll put that in the eyeball. Around the top, on the left and the right, and around the bottom. And I'm leaving the shine there and the shine there, so that shine, shine, shine. So I have the yellow underneath, and then I'm going to pick up some orange and blend it with the yellow on my palette and make a lighter orange. And then underneath where his eyelid would be, I'm pulling it there, and it's going to bleed down into the wet yellow, like that. And then over here. Alright, I'm going to go to a darker blue now. I really hope nobody showed up at the store looking for me. But sometimes you just gotta stay home. Alright, so I'm going to get some purple, like straight up purple, and put it in down here. I feel really bad if somebody showed up to the store looking for me, and I did not manage to make it down there. You can feel free to let me know if you did show up down there, because then I'll know that it is worth my while to go down there, and people are wanting to get back in the shop. This has just been really tough times. Every little bit is a bother and a worry and a stress. And I'm hoping that that phone call that just came through wasn't somebody trying to get into the shop wondering where I am. Because that'd be awful. Because I'd feel really bad. But there's just, sometimes you just can't. Alright, so there we got that going. Just like that. And I'm darkening in the areas that I'll eventually add the black to, so that I get a really rich dark black. So I'm putting that in all the areas that I want the dark. I feel really bad now. What if somebody did show up at the shop looking for me because I said I'd be there? I'm such an awful person. I don't need the stress. Alright. So I'm just kind of adding in a little bit of texture now with this darker blue. And I think I'm going to do the same with the darker red. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a darker red than I had previously put on there. And just kind of keep adding. Adding. I add a little bit of water because the edge was a little hard because the paper is starting to dry right there. And it was starting to get a hard edge. And I didn't want it to be that hard. I mean, sometimes you want a little bit, but that was too much. So I added a little bit of water into that to increase the softened look. Okay, so now we've got this done. We need to start adding the really dark colors. So I'm going to start out with mixing black and this purple together. Black, blue, no, black, purple, and brown. So that I can get a dark, lively color. And I'm going to just put that eye in. I'm going to put the eye in. Just like this. Alright, so there's the iris. No, pupil. Oh, no, stop. Bad. There was a puddle there. I thought that had dried. So there's a dark shadow here. And this isn't straight black, it's black with some purple and brown in it. And I'm going to come over here. And add some more. Right up in here. Get that dark framework on the eye. And just kind of pull the color out from the eye a little bit. Up here. And now I'm going to go across the top of the nose, the beak. And notice I'm holding my brush straight up and down so I can use the tip of this brush because I'm trying to draw a somewhat skinny line. See, it's starting to come together. And you just flick with this little tuft of fur there. Not fur, feathers. Doing a bird. Don't actually like painting birds too much because they're, if you don't get the beak right, they don't look like the bird. And so they take more time, and that makes it hard to do. And you might have to redo it. Like if you do all that work and then look at it and the beak's wrong, then you have to just do it. There's no fixing wrong beaks. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Well, I guess it's an experience, but alright. So we're getting pretty good here with the color. I have to do it a couple times. You notice when it dries, it lightens up quite a bit. I'm just adding a little bit to the top here. Thin line that. And smudge that out a little bit because there's going to be shadow there under his jaw. That. Remember, black, blue, and purple. Black, purple, and brown. I'll just add that line in. I'll go more to the dark blue side now. Dark blue. And put in some edgy stuff over here. Edgy. And I have to come back in and put this in. I created a little bit of feather action there. Like that. And I think the original art was probably done on something, on a piece of watercolor paper that had a lot of tooth to it, to get some of the speckles that it has. This paper has a smoother surface, so it's not doing, I prefer to have that other paper, but it's just not what I got up here in the studio, so I gotta do with what I got. Alright, I'm gonna do a little touch up of pink in here. Get a little bit darker layers. Just keep adding layers. And I'm going to go back in here with the orange. Now that this should be dry. And I cover up my boo-boo earlier where the paint kind of ran. I'll fix that. And over here, down there. As our eyes really come along. Yeah, that's a rich eye. See, I add the darkest parts to the top of the eye because that's where the shading would be. Now, still not happy with that blue. I feel like it's too, it's not rich enough, it's not dark enough blue, so I'm going to try to make a little bit darker blue by adding a little bit of red and purple to it. See if I can get a little bit more richer blue. Alright, now I'm going to pull this out in a little stringly, yeah, like that, because this is feathers that go away from the eye and radiate out. And I'm doing a thin layer all the way around. And this gives it some texture, and pushes that eye back. And I just noticed that I'm missing a little bit of dark right up in here. Well, it's like a framing line. That'll also help push that eye back into the head. So I just keep adding a little bit here and there to get the nice texture and the shape. I don't know if this is even going out because I don't see anybody being on there. So if you're on there, hit like or something, or mad, whatever. I don't care. I just need to know that you're there. Comments are welcome. Preferably positive ones, but whatever. At least I'll know you're there. At least I know somebody's there. I'm not all by myself. Alright. So I'm going to take that dark blue and intensify it a little bit more. A little more intense. Lighter than the black, but more intense. Come up to here again. And do another layer. My bird's a cockatiel, and she's kind of old. She's got one of those fatty tumors on her back, which means I've got to keep her from messing with it, because she'll be okay if I can keep her from messing with it, because birds can't stand to have anything wrong with them. They just want to get it off of them. So I have to figure out a way to do that. Oh yeah, there we go. Looks nice. It's starting to get nice, rich. It looks really good on the computer. It's small. Not sure about it here in person. Okay, so this is watercolor white. And so I'm just going to see what it does, how it dries. I don't normally use white with watercolor stuff, but I'll see if it even shows up. It might. It's a little yellow. Let's see if I can get down to the white part. There we go. And it's in there a little bit. This is my koi palette, which is higher quality than the student grade that I usually use, and so it's white. It seems to have a little more oomph to it. It's kind of making it look a little gray, but that's okay. I kind of like it. Now we've got quite an owl going here. Just like that. Just add another layer of black. Mix. And so that's basically it. It's basically a painting that looks like an owl and does an owl a hooting good job of being an owl. Woot woot. Just doing a little flicking That always makes it look super watercolory. Super watercolory. That's a trademark. Super watercolory. Washy. Washy, washy. There you go. So that, my friends, is a Tinker watercolor experience. If you'd like to have a Tinker watercolor experience in person, please let me know. I would love to go down to and have one-on-ones with people and teach all of my mad skills to somebody and then watch them be able to be awesome painting and all that jazz. And there's always the Sharpie. If you want to make something really pop, in the painting and you want to add to it, you can take and just lightly touch it with your Sharpie. Make some simple short lines to add to it. Now I would only add it to the eye area and maybe the nose area because the rest of it's supposed to be all sketchy and free and watercolory and fun and happy. And I think that I'm done. I think that I proved that I can paint an owl. Now you proved to me you guys can paint an owl. And close up of the eye. And that's all until we meet again. Hoot hoot.